Hi, Gummies. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Bumping My Gums. I'm so excited that we have another guest today, and she's going to talk to us about vitiligo. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when future episodes are published. Hey, Miss Lady. So, can you introduce yourself to my gummies?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me on your show. I'm so excited. Try not to be nervous. My name is Angie McAdoo, and I don't know what you want to know about me, but I've lived here in Newcastle County, been in Delaware for about 20 years now. I'm originally from Tennessee.
Don't be nervous. Like I said, think of it as two girlfriends chatting in front
Yeah.
of a camera. So, what do you do for a living?
Well, I guess by trade, I am a social worker.
Mhm.
I have a bachelor's in social work and I have a master's degree in education. Currently, I work for one of the school districts and I am the homeless and foster care liaison for the district.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize
Mhm.
that. Um, so how is that working with all of this COVID-19 going on? How are you able to, check in?
Mhm. So I tell you, this is really, I think just been a difficult time for everyone, and
Mhm.
especially for my children. I say my children because I'm passionate about them, but the students that are living in hotels or currently displaced, they're already experiencing trauma. So this is just another level of trauma that they're dealing with. And so I think on my part, with our district, the state, everybody's shut down and
Mhm.
we're working remotely from home. So I've been trying to reach out, starting with the families that are in hotels and that are staying in shelters, and just trying to get them school supplies. So being that I'm actually, it's called the McKinney-Vento Liaison,
Okay.
and every state has an evento liaison that deals with the students. And so, as the liaison, I have school supplies and uniforms and that kind of things for students. So I have a supply closet. So we left on a Friday, and we got notice Friday evening that we weren't coming back. So
Right.
I thought about, I didn't get things out of my office. I'm sure students didn't get a chance to take things home. And so we were back in our office on that Monday for about 45 minutes. And I kid you not, I walked by I have this room that has like school supplies in it. And it was just like, I say it was just like God spoke to me and said, for such a time as this. And I spent the last 20 minutes trying to get all the supplies and backpacks and notes and everything I could and put in my car so I could take it home. And I started building backpacks. And so just reaching out to the families in the hotels, just trying to get the kids, the students, the school supplies. And also the district is having the teachers do educational packets. So I
Mhm.
was trying to make sure, they get that information.
Right. Wow. So now they're trying to do some classes online. So
Mhm.
is there any way to get those students set up to do online classes, or do they just have to strictly rely on doing the packets?
Well, some students that are in hotels, they do have access to Wi-Fi. So it will depend on if that Wi-Fi is high speed or if it's even usable. And then I think the problem is that, even if they have Wi-Fi, they have a laptop. I know our
Mhm.
district has handing out Chromebooks.
Okay.
So I think more so with my population, they are probably just going to have to rely on the educational packets, because if they don't have Wi-Fi, then they probably don't have um, a laptop or anything to use. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it can be a little rough.
Yeah. What are the ages that you service?
I service K through 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so for my district as a total, I have about close to 500 homeless kids. And I have approximately 100, living in hotels and shelters.
Wow. How do you keep track of all 500 children?
Well, I have what we call first of all, I report to DOE, Department of Education, and we have a what we call an e-scoop program. So I code everything as homeless as far as the students, the parents or the schools will send me a data sheet, just let me know that this family has been displaced, and I keep records and put them under what we call the McKinney-Vento Act. And the
Mm-hmm.
McKinney-Vento Act pretty much allows, or it kind of ensures that students that are homeless will receive, proper education, uniforms, school supplies, to make sure that they're still getting the access to education that they're required to get.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
does your um, role do anything about speaking to their other needs? Because sometimes when they have issues in other areas, it's hard for them to focus on schoolwork. So, like for meals for the kids that are living in the hotel, is there any type of way to address like meals for the kids?
So I have tried to work on that part as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first concern is when this closed down. I was thinking, most of these kids, unfortunately, some going to school getting that breakfast and lunch, that may be the only meal that they get. And so that really became a concern. And, I voiced it to my husband, who is
Mm-hmm.
the pastor of the Union Baptist Church in Wilmington, Delaware.
Yes.
Throw that plug in.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And I say, I would love to just try to get these students a hot meal on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And, from the jump, he was on board. He said, let's make it happen. So um, we, in connection with the church, we were able to, Easter weekend, we were able to go to different hotels, give out school supplies, and a meal that we put together. My husband fixed over like 200 breakfast sandwiches, and they had
Wow.
like apple juice, home fried potatoes. And so, it was just really a blessing to be able to do that and give that out to those students. And not only the students, because of the help from Union, we were able to feed the families. So that was good.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and then, yeah. So the school districts, they have sites where they pass out meals.
Mm-hmm.
They do it on Monday and Wednesday. And
Okay.
so, I try to do these things, but I think, the project is just so big. This past Wednesday, I said, well, the hotels that I didn't get that Saturday, I said, let me go and finish and try to get those. So I arranged to pick up meals for those families and delivered them to those families in the hotels. So next week we're trying to do it again. So it's just I'm trying to figure this out and get it all worked out, because it's a much bigger project than me. And the need is there for these families and especially these students. And my heart just goes out to them.
Yes. I keep hearing different states are announcing that the school year they basically ended the school year. Has Delaware ended our school year? Have they decided to just wait until September to let the kids go back?
Delaware has not stated to us as yet. So right now we are scheduled to go back, I think, May 15th.
Okay.
So I'm hearing, so that's where we are now. And I don't want to say anything
Hmm.
because I haven't gotten any other information. Yeah.
Okay. Any official word. Okay.
Right.
So, in your opinion, what would have to happen in order for the kids to come back to school and be safe?
Ooh, that's a big one. I'm not really sure, and I appreciate the governor, just really trying to make sure that, the schools, um, the students, the staff, that we all are safe.
Right.
I, with that population coming into the school, if things are not as they should be, that's a big risk, not only to your students and teachers. It just filters down into the families when the students go back to their home or residence.
Hmm.
So I believe, it would just have to be, because if you're in class, you can't really social distance. So I'm hearing that, the state is going to open up in 3 phases. So we would have to be able to meet those phases properly. So we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, see how things go. Yeah, I know, you
It's a
know.
big issue, and I understand the parents. Some of them are getting back to work or will be getting back to work, and then you have your students that are, home. Like I had this one family that I was working with, and um, he is in a hotel, and his kids are there, and so he's still trying to and then trying to get somebody to take care of the kids. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your office inside of a school?
I am currently housed at our district office.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not in a school. I'm at the district office at this point. I took this job maybe like 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was in the school as the dean of student, the school social worker. So I've had
Okay.
a couple jobs.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you say you also work with homeless too, or just the children who are unfortunately displaced?
The children and the families that are unfortunately displaced. The
Okay.
other thing that I do is that as the foster care liaison, we are, I guess we try to make sure that those students that are in foster care, if they're moving from home to home, we try to maintain that school stability. So we work with other district liaisons to try to see what's in the best interest of the student.
Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is vitiligo. I wanted to talk to you about your journey, about, getting diagnosed. So first, what is vitiligo? Am I ever saying that right? Vitiligo?
Vitiligo, yes.
Vitiligo. I'm sorry.
Vitiligo. It's okay.
So exactly what is
So,
it?
in a nutshell, vitiligo is pretty much an autoimmune disorder
Mhm.
that causes me or causes the person to lose the pigmentation in their skin.
Okay. How were you diagnosed with it? Did it started as a small spot and you noticed it?
I believe with me, it started with a small spot on my lip. And I think I might have said to my husband, I said, look like I'm losing color in my lip. And it was just a small section.
Mhm.
And then, you notice it begin to spread. And then I got a spot on my hand. And this was back in 2000. I believe I got my first spot in 2013.
Okay.
And so, I went to the doctor and he kind of diagnosed me with that.
What's the testing to get diagnosed for them to know?
So in my situation, some people with vitiligo are born with it.
Mhm.
Some, in some cases, is hereditary, and they have inherited. That was neither case for me.
Mhm.
Um, and most people get it when they're younger. So with me, I had an episode, a health episode back in 2012, where I ended up in the emergency room. My blood pressure was like 175 over 105. And once I went to the hospital, they do the blood work. When I went to see my doctor, like, a week or 2 weeks later, my blood work just indicated that all my levels, my vitamin D, my iron, just all my levels were really low. My potassium were low. And I think for me, that's what triggered it. Um, for me. That's when it started after that.
Okay. Now, how quickly did it grow? Did you notice that it was increasing?
Whew. Well, so this is 2000 and this is 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2013, I believe it probably just started with my lip and just like one side of it, but noticeably was more so my hands. So
Hmm.
I started with a spot on my hand, and I think I am a person that speaks with my hand. If I teach
Hmm.
class or whatever, I just use my hands. So it was just confined to my hands, and it just started to spread slowly. I would have to say probably within the last 3 years that it started to rapidly increase as far as
Hmm.
spreading across my body. One of the things about vitiligo is that it spreads due to stress.
Hmm.
Okay. And I think about what I do. Um, Even when I don't think I'm stressed, I try not to be stressed. It's like my brain is always working with this COVID-19. I'm trying to figure out how to get these students fed. How can I get them their educational packets? So it's like I'm always working. My brain is always working, but I can just tell even with the COVID thing that is spreading on my face more because of that issue. And,
Hmm.
and we know stress is not only bad thing, it's good things too.
Mhm.
So I think about what has happened over the last 7 years. Was some good and some bad things that was stressful to me. I think the episode that I had in the hospital was very stressful and taxing on my body, which just triggered everything. From that, my son, he played football in Alabama. He had a major concussion. My daughter had a couple of surgeries and had a nurse come to the house, and she was bleeding out. We had called 911.
Wow.
Uh, fast forward a couple of years, I lost my mom like 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
After that, a year later, I think I had a flood down in my basement where we just lost everything. We went on vacation, we came back, and our house was just covered in mold. We were in a hotel for 4 months, trauma.
Yeah.
and and then after that, even with my church family, after my mom passed, I think, I think God is just so good. He has allowed me to deal with that. Um, and just gave me a sense of peace. But
Mm-hmm.
we had other members like for a whole year. It was like someone in our church was passing like every month.
Wow.
And we were doing funeral. These people are close to us. And so I think with all of that, even, I think, I handle things so well. So I think because of my social work skills.
Mhm.
And but sometimes our body just goes through things that we have no control over.
Yeah.
So I think with the COVID-19 going on, my body is stressing, it's anxious. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same way because no one has experienced this before. And so I just try to keep myself in the Word of God, speak scriptures, doing meditation. I want to start yoga, which I think would be very good.
Yeah.
But so I think, the stress causes it to spread. And I just started looking at what was going on with me and what has happened in the last few years, um, where it just really started spreading rapidly. I think when I go back and look at a picture from last year this time, I just had maybe a little spot under my eyes and things. So this past year, it really just has a lot.
Wow. Is there any medication or treatment for it?
So with vitiligo, okay, there's no cure, but there are treatments and medications that some people choose to take to try to bring back the pigmentation in your skin. And
Mhm.
so I think that depends on, a lot of things, how well the treatments work. It depends on how soon are you starting it, how much pigmentation have you lost. I think it depends on your age. This is just from some of the research that I've done.
Mm.
Um, so, there's medication, there's some light therapy that works very well. Um, so there are a few things that can be done to try to slow down the loss of your pigmentation and try to restore it.
Okay.
It
Um,
doesn't always mean that, I think I've read in some cases that even though it comes back, you may get another spot that somewhere else. It's almost like this thing has a mind of its own.
oh, so if you're doing the treatments, it could say slow down from your hands, but then you'll get another spot on your shoulder.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
Okay. So how was that for your mental health when you started going through and you got a pretty public job, you were a pastor's wife. How was that mentally when things started changing in your face in, places that
Right.
people could see?
Right. I think with my hand, um, it was okay. And I'm thinking, okay, as long as it stays in my hands, I'm okay. I'm just gonna do what I do. And then you see it start spreading up my arms. And I think at some point I just had to come to the conclusion, I guess, and say to myself, it is what it is. It's not anything that I can control. It's not anything that I did to get this.
Right.
So I just got to give it to God. And then one thing I say, the saying is if He brings it to you, allow it to come to you. He's gonna allow it, you to go through it.
Right.
So I just said at some point, it is what it is, and hey, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
So mentally, I think, and I try to look at my background, I definitely, we think about how God has a sense of humor, and I just think all of it is connected with me being a social worker, uh, and always, trying to teach those skills about as far as self-esteem and, um, self-care and all that. So really that's just all coming back is, what I've been teaching other young ladies and teenagers, what, I have to rely and apply to myself now. So you really have to, and I have to say this, this is not to minimize vitiligo and the things that some people go through, because some people really have a challenge with it, and it can be taxing on your mental health. Especially we as women, when we look in the mirror, we look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And if we get a pimple, we're like, oh my gosh, where's this pimple? Why don't it go away? So imagine you losing the pigmentation in your skin, and your skin is just changing. So you really have to just be mentally strong. I think one of the things is I decided I'm not gonna let it beat me. I used to be a runner. I don't run anymore. But so when I say it comes all together, me having that running mentality, that runner mentality, I don't like to lose.
Mhm.
So I say to myself, I'm not gonna let vitiligo stop me
Mhm.
from being and doing what God has called me to do. And I think, with my spiritual background and my close relationship to God, I think that really is what gives me the boost to do what I do.
When you are interacting with people like for the first time, do people actually ask you about it? Because I know people teeter on nosy and just curious. Because I know I had an injury with my finger, and I had, even though it was just my finger, they had my whole entire arm bandaged, and it surprised me how so many strangers would approach me and say, "What happened? What happened?"
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, are you nosy or are you really just concerned?
Probably a little bit of both, huh?
Yeah.
So this is funny. I think with my journey, I don't have a lot of people ask me about what's going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
We were taught, my mom taught me, don't stare, don't stare, don't stare. If you see something that's not, you keep moving, you don't stare and you don't ask any questions. So I
Right.
think some people find it, they're curious. I believe they're curious because you don't see this every day,
Right.
uh, and they want to know what happened. Have I been burned? Or I can imagine this is what they're thinking. Is it a burned or what? What is this? But I
Right.
don't ask that question a lot. It's funny. Back in 2016, maybe my son was in the military and he was having his graduation, and we were staying in a hotel on base. And this little girl, she, bless her heart, her name was Faith, and I will never forget Miss Faith. She was a little angel, and she evidently had something going on with her, and I didn't ask. It looks like she may have had cancer of some sort because she was losing her hair. So that's just what I'm thinking. But she would see me every morning. And so one morning she just decided to walk up to me, and my hands weren't as white as they are now. But I was losing, you could tell. And she said, "What happened to your hand?" And so I started explaining to her, vitiligo and what vitiligo was. And her mom walked up to me. She said, "I hope you're okay with that." I said, "I'm fine." She said, "I have taught my daughter to ask what happened and not what's wrong with you."
Mm.
Because sometimes we look at people and we see different things and we go, "Oh, what's wrong with you?"
Right.
There's nothing wrong with you. Something just happened to you. And what happens to us in our life, whether it's vitiligo, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, sometimes we just don't have control over certain things. So I
Right.
love that. I always remember that, And so I had this mural, this compact mural that someone had given me. And the last day we were leaving, I asked her mom if I could give it to her. And I told her, I gave it to her, I opened it up. I said, "You look in that mirror, when you open this up, I want you to say to yourself every day that I am beautiful." And I
Oh.
said, "I want you to look in this mirror and just know and believe that you are beautiful." And so I called her Faith. Her name was Faith, and I will never forget her. But she was probably the first person that asked me, and she had to be about 7, 8, 9, around that age. Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow, that's an awesome story. And I'm sure she probably remembers you too. Every time she pulls out that mirror, she remembers you too. That it was a good, interaction. Yeah. Representation. I know that we always talk about as African Americans, representation, disabilities, you want to see people that look like you. Have you
Mhm.
been following the model Winnie Harlow? Are you familiar with her?
Yes, I love her. And actually, she is, I think anybody with vitiligo now, especially with the social media, they know who she is. And she's like a spokesmodel for us. And actually, this artist had did a portrait of her, and so I bought that picture, and she's beautiful, and I just wish I could show it to you. But she, so I have her picture, on my wall, and so when I think about that and her confidence, I'm like, yes, that's me. I want to be confident like her. I don't want to be confident like her. I want to be confident, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be ashamed of what's going on with me.
Mhm.
Help that be able to just encourage somebody else, especially with our young people. Being in school, I can only imagine, can be hard on
Mhm.
our students, because bullying is a real thing, and it's a constant thing for people who look quote unquote normal. I'm not gonna say
Right.
normal, but don't have issues. And so I can only imagine that sometimes students with vitiligo are getting bullied or not always being said nice things to.
Mhm.
So just learning early on to, find out who you are, believe in yourself, and just know that, you are beautiful, and not letting anybody take that away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I of the women's ministry that I came to, when you did your, when you removed the makeup as part of your presentation, I thought about Lee Thomas. He did a TED talk last year, and he's a
Mhm.
news broadcaster, and he did the same thing. He got
Okay.
this not medication, he got makeup that he used to wear all
Mhm.
the time because he wanted his skin to be even when he was on the air. But during his TED talk, he was, removing it, and you could see the effects of the vitiligo, and it was
Right.
powerful. It was
Mhm.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. So with me, I think I was never a person that really wore makeup anyways. I didn't know how to wear it. I'm telling you, I have my lipstick, my eyeshadow, my eyeliner, mascara, and that's it.
Yeah.
But as far as trying to find foundation, I just did not do all of that. So when the vitiligo started spreading to my face, I think it was in the beginning was just to, okay, let's cover this spot.
Right.
Okay, let's cover this spot. And then all of a sudden your spots are down here. And
Mhm.
so it just doesn't blend in with the makeup. So I had to make a decision. We were getting ready to go on vacation summer on a cruise. And I'm like, I am not getting up every morning and putting any makeup on. So that was my opportunity to like just come out and just, do away with it. I said, I'm just gonna be me on vacation.
Right.
And so I did that in one night. And so dealing with this is the thing about your mind, okay?
Mhm.
You can't control this, but you want everything else to be together.
Yeah.
So we were going to dinner. We were going to dinner one night, and I think I didn't bring a shawl or something for my outfit. And it just messed me up. I'm thinking it was picture night. And so I was running around trying to find something on the ship. I did. And so I think my husband was rushing me. So when I left out of the room, I was like in a real funky mood because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get it together. Okay.
Mhm.
So, and I'd say God just has a way of just calming and just speaking to your situation. As soon as we walked to do the pictures, this lady approached me. She said, I would love to do a photo shoot of you. She
Wow.
said, of you and your husband. I said, okay. And I thought she'd think we might have had some money, but we didn't.
Oh, good. She ain't need to know that.
Apple attire. But she did those pictures, and that was the night. So the first night of dinner, I had makeup on. and because I wanted a nice picture. This
Mhm.
rest of the cruise, I didn't have makeup on for dinner other than, my girly stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, and she saw that and she said, I would just love to do a photo shoot. And she did those pictures and they just turned out beautiful and I loved them. And but God has a way of just, that just made me feel so much better because I
Mhm.
was stressed over not having the right shirt or something on for
Right.
dinner. And when that came on, that just really calmed me, and that was really good. And
Yeah.
so when you're on a ship of 5,000 people and you don't see anybody that look like you,
Mhm.
it's that was good.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that, but
No, that was good though, because it's true. I agree. I believe that the Lord does send you what you need when you need it. So in that moment, sending the lady over to you about doing the photo shoot, that's what you needed in that moment.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I said that to, I'm getting back to just me stating, okay, this is it. I'm
Mhm.
not going on vacation. This is a good time. And it's almost like it's in phases to do stuff. And you have to be ready. Nobody can tell you you need to stop wearing makeup. What's
Right.
good to me, somebody else with vitiligo may not be there yet. And we have to understand that because it is emotional. It can play on your mental. So, you just have to be patient. And I'm hoping that people with vitiligo have a really good support system, family that are understanding. I know
Mhm.
I told my kids, I said, okay, I'm getting ready to stop wearing makeup. And Michael, my son, he was like, I don't see why you wear it anyway. So, they have always embraced it. My
Yeah.
sister was like, my niece kept telling me, Angie, you look better with makeup without makeup anyway. Stop wearing it. So they always encouraged me and just gave me the support. And I guess I was telling people because I don't want you to be shocked. And that
Yeah.
was another reason I came out because I didn't want to be wearing makeup and my pigmentation is decreasing.
Mhm.
One day I just show up and my face is just all changed and pale or white. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, let's just do this, and so people can see it, see me as I grow with it. I guess. Yeah.
Right. So, do you have any final thoughts or advice?
Yeah, you know what? Well, I have a lot of little stories. I'm gonna tell you one other thing. I'm gonna put a what is it? A blurb in for my website, which is
Yeah.
called mywalk.com.
Mhm.
And so, just to tell you a little bit how that got started, when I say God has a sense of humor, He just does. And, I just thank Him for that. But back in 2011, I think we had a women's retreat
Mhm.
and we were dealing with some things at church and relationships and things. And God gave me that scripture, Galatians 5:16, which says, if you walk in the spirit, you shall not fulfill the desires of the flesh.
Mm.
So that was our theme, and It's in My Walk came to me, and it's been with me ever since. So I bought the website domain in 2015 and just working on it ever since. And procrastination,
Mhm.
unfortunately, my friend. So I put it off and really just launched it I think last October.
Okay.
So if you go to mywalk.com, but the funny thing about that, I was sharing with the women at my church, our women's ministry, about my journey. And I said, I thought it's in my walk that God gave me, it's in my walk for me to encourage other people. But He showed me that He also gave me, it's in my walk to encourage myself for going through what I'm going through now.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
yes, and just being able to have that confidence, and so it's in my walk evolved
Mhm.
from dealing with relationships and how what you do should be a model for crisis standards for our life. They should be able to see in your walk what God requires of us. And so, He calls us to be, He said, you are a royal priesthood. That should be in my walk. So that confidence, it should be in my walk. So, I try to think about that and just have that confidence, and I think sometimes people think confidence is a bad thing, but it's
Mhm.
not, especially when it comes from God. And so I embrace that, and I try not to be ashamed of it. don't get me wrong. There are days when when I get up and I heard this one lady singing, she looks in the mirror a lot. And I do
Mhm.
too, because I don't think I ever want to get to the point where I don't want to see myself in the mirror. And I'll
Mhm.
look at it and I'll stare at my spots. And I'll say, girl, you look good. I love me.
Yes, you cute. Exactly.
I love me. And I think that's what you have to do, whether you have vitiligo or not. You have to be able to speak encouraging words to yourself, build yourself up, and just feel good about yourself. And unfortunately, we have a lot of women that are not at that point. So
Right.
being able to speak to them, and hopefully, them seeing me going through this, and being able to hold my head up
Mm,
high. When I walk in a room, I intentionally make eye contact with people.
mm,
Uh, and I think as a pastor's wife, I've been used to people just staring, period, because they're either curious about who the pastor's wife is, or
mhm.
like I said, they're nosy. But
Combination, right?
most of the time, I think people are just curious, because I'll see
Mhm.
a pastor's wife, or I'll be wondering, well, who is she? Where is she? And
Yeah.
sometimes they just want to know who she is. And
Mhm.
I've been a pastor's wife for over 25 years. So I think that's one thing that I've gotten used to. And so
Mhm.
being able to walk in that room and anywhere, like at work, like the day I went without makeup and I walked into work, I was like, I'm walking in like a boss. And it was just like, standing up proud, I'm making eye contact with everybody. And you just have to like own that for yourself.
Yeah.
I had a counselor. I went to this retreat or this conference years ago
Mm.
and met this, was in this class. His name was Sonny Ocho. I will never remember him. I'll never forget him. But he said, I wake up in every morning and look in the mirror and say, I love me some Sonny Ocho.
Okay.
And from that day forth, I wake up and say, I love me some Angie McAdoo.
That's right. That's right. As they say, if you don't, who else will, right?
Will, okay, right. And that's the other thing. You can't worry about who will, who won't, and who don't. You just
Right.
got to be able to love yourself and 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 just take care of yourself and believe in yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So in her walk, the
Wait,
website.
wait.
Hmm.
I'm talking a lot. I said, I started talking about the website because when I was sharing with my women's ministry, I said, I was telling them, I said, God gave this to me. And I asked him, I said, he gave it to me for a reason. And I asked God driving home, I said, what is the reason you gave this to me for? I said, because I know he's not going to do anything to hurt me.
Right.
He's giving me the confidence to deal with it. And he said, like it spoke to me, glorify me. And
Mm.
so that's what I'm trying to do is just, in all that I go through and everything that I do, just try to glorify God. And, He has not given us a spirit of fear, a spirit of depression. Not that we don't get depressed sometimes, but we shouldn't stay there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I just trust God and just believe that, He's going to be able to just keep me and I try not to think about what's coming because someday I'm sure as this is spreading, I'm going to lose, the pigmentation in my face completely.
Hmm.
And I just have to take that one day at a time, not stress on that piece of it. Because I love my chocolate skin.
Yeah.
I've had it for a long
Yes. Yes. Like you said,
yeah.
just appreciate the moment that you're in now and not stress about something that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, exactly. Because God still has it. I believe He still can. If He chooses to heal me, He
Yes.
absolutely can. And I'm not going to say He can't. And maybe He will, and maybe He won't. But if He don't, I'm still going to glorify Him.
Amen. So your website, is it like a vlog? Do you write stories or use scriptures you share?
Yeah, so it is, and this is new. Blogging is new for me, okay? But it is like a blog, and so I do share stories. I have about 4 on there now. Like I said, I've
Okay.
been procrastinating a little bit, but just trying to encourage, not only women but anybody who comes to my site, with anything that God gives to me. I think the last thing that He spoke to me was out of Esther, the 4th chapter, which talks about for such a time as this.
Hmm.
And when I walked by my supply closet, and He gave me that scripture, He said, "You have these things. you just can't stay in. We're talking about staying in.
Right.
Esther was like, if I perish, I perish, but I got to go and do what I can to try to save my people. And I think, in times like this, he has called us to do certain things. We're supposed to look after the widows, the poor, the hungry. And I said, I have all this stuff. I just cannot let it sit in my office or in my closet and not give it to people and
Right.
be scared to go out and pass it out to them. Of course, I'm on social distance
Yeah.
and I'm gonna have my mask and my gloves on and do all the precautionary things. But
Mm.
I felt, maybe he's called me into the kingdom for such a time as this to help somebody else.
Right. So if someone was interested in helping you or you and Union to, pass out supplies, is there any way people can assist?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been trying to be careful about getting other people involved because I don't want to put other people at risk.
Hmm.
But me and a couple other ladies that help with the first feeding, we would love to, just do another feeding for those families some kind of way, just trying to work that out. Um, Absolutely, if they want to help, they can always call the church. We have someone there every day, um, or just reach out to me by email,
Okay.
lady at itsinmywalk.com. I'll be glad, you leave me a number and I'll get back with you.
Okay. I will definitely put that information down below in the description. So the email address is, say that one more time for me.
It's, which is
Mm.
itsnmywalk.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
You
right.
can find
And
me on Facebook and Instagram as well.
oh, okay. You definitely forward me the information so I can make sure I put all of your contact information in the description box so that way if people want to reach out to you, they have the information to do so.
Okay, sounds good.
So I have two more questions for you. These are questions that I ask all of my guests. So the first one is, if money and time were limitless, what would you do?
Money and time were limitless. I would probably spend time and travel with my family. I
Mhm.
love to travel and I love just spending time with my family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in this time and day, no day is promised, tomorrow's not promised. So not being able to see, my grandchildren, I have a new baby, grandbaby that's like maybe 2
Congratulations.
old. I
Yeah.
have a 1 year old who just turned one. So, these are special moments for
Mhm.
me as a she mom.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. And the last question is, if someone were to ask, who is Angie, what would you want them to say?
I would say that I don't think I'm anybody special, but I do because I think God has, made us all special. Um, I'm just me, and one of my blogs was entitled "Free to Be Me," and
Mhm.
I don't want to. I think I decided, especially as a pastor's wife, that I didn't want to be put in anybody's box. I want to be able to be who God wants me to be, and I think that's just to be, I'm a friend. I think I'm a mom. I'm a good wife. Hopefully I can encourage other people, women, that may be going through dark times. So I think who I am.
So I believe that your story definitely is going to encourage someone. Absolutely.
I pray that it does. I pray that it
Yeah.
does. I said one thing, I was just going to try to be, as transparent as I can, or as I could be.
Yeah.
And just hopefully, and I don't want it I guess, and I'm just going to throw this in here. I don't want, my husband, he's learning, but he made the comment that, vitiligo people I'm suffering from vitiligo.
Hmm.
Me, myself, I don't see myself as suffering. I choose to say I'm living with vitiligo.
Hmm.
And, it is a journey. It's something that changes every day, I think. And so just trying to stay mentally healthy, um, not fall into depression where some people have. And when you think about what this does to you, rightfully so, it's just so deep. And one thing is, when I talk about my body, I see my hands and I see my face all the time, but we don't look at our whole body all the time. And just to see how it's spread and how rapidly it spreads, it's just something to wrap your mind around. And you just got to come to terms and to grips with it that, you know, I'm not in pain from it, although it does cause some other things to happen, I think. And I didn't say this, but one of the things that I began losing my hearing probably like in 2014, 13. And that is one of the side effects of some people having vitiligo. So it's kind of connected. And so just dealing with the different things that come along with it and those challenges and just trying to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. No, but I just thank God. I'm here. I'm happy. And, and I'm just grateful. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I appreciate you so much for doing this. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gummies, for tuning in. We pray that something that was said today would definitely encourage you and allow you to find that strength within to hold your head up and be confident, because we know that you are beautiful inside and out. Have a great day on purpose, Gummies.